A change of pace now with time for John Clarke and BRYAN DAWE.
Mr. Rudd, thanks for your time.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Brian, and good evening.
Now, this Telstra business this week, have we been told the whole story here?
Oh, you want to talk about Telstra?
If we could.
Yes, well, you have been told the whole story, Brian. Let's come to that in a minute. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, the environment.
Excellent idea, Brian. Absolutely splendid idea. Let's talk about Telstra.
Yes, and then can we talk about the environment?
If we've got time, Brian, yeah.
Well, will there be time?
No, shouldn't think so. Not if we're going to talk about Telstra properly, Brian. It's a very important issue.
Mr. Rudd, are you getting a lot of flack from the 1.4 million shareholders?
Look, I'm not going to pretend this is a happy time for the shareholders, Brian, and we do get...
People aren't impressed.
A lot of them aren't very impressed at all.
And rightly so.
Not unreasonably, Brian. They were told they were buying a stake in Australia's future.
And they bought it anyway.
Well, Brian, Australia does have a future, and we're offering Telstra part of that future through their participation in the broadband network.
Would there be a bigger mess than this? I mean, this used to be the biggest corporation in Australian history.
It did, yes.
It's like the Titanic going down.
Well, hang on a minute, Brian. The Titanic hit an iceberg.
Well, what did Telstra hit?
It hit Richard Alston.
The former minister?
Yeah, he was submerged. They didn't see him, Brian.
This is in broad daylight.
Yeah, Brian, I'm not suggesting there wasn't negligence.
Look at
there
the
may
losses.
be a full
Look at the
maritime
losses.
and catastrophic, shocking losses. But
Tell me it wasn't on your watch.
It did not happen on our watch.
Exactly.
Can I make that point,
yeah,
Brian?
I thought you
not
would.
on our watch.
It used to be owned by the government.
It did, and we didn't sell it either. Can I make that point, Brian? We were opposed to the sale of Telstra.
Why was it sold?
Well, you might remember the Howard government, Brian, vociferously stated repeatedly, high, wide and handsome, that it was being sold in order to provide competition.
Who with?
With private operators.
Like who?
Well, like Optus, for example.
Private sector competition.
Correct.
And who owns Optus?
As it happens, the Singapore government owns Optus, Brian.
They saw us coming, didn't they?
They've done very well, Brian. They've been a very successful period for them. Their share price has doubled since we released T2.
Mr. Rudd, just a couple of more questions.
So long as they're not about the environment, right?
Why did the Future Fund tip out millions of dollars worth of shares very recently?
Well, Stephen Conroy has stated very clearly, Brian, that at no stage did he speak to David Murray about this at all.
Yes, I understand that. But would anybody else have spoken to David Murray?
I shouldn't think so, Brian, no.
Well, someone who maybe knew Stephen Conroy or...
Might have mentioned in passing to somebody who may have been acquainted with David Murray.
That it might be an idea to tip out a third of their stock.
I wouldn't think so, Brian, not in Australia.
Why not?
Couldn't happen.
Well, it could have happened and you didn't know about it.
Don't be ridiculous, Brian.
Yeah, that's a point.